Award and Best Teacher Award at UG and PG levels by BHU ICR, state level by Uttar Pradesh Academy of Agricultural Sciences, and at national level by All India Agricultural Students Association in 2009, 2012, 2018, and 2019 respectively. He is serving as Review College member of British Ecology 2011. He is a member of Global Forum on Food Security and Nutrition of Food and Agriculture Organization, Rome, and also a member of Commission on Ecosystem Management of IUCN. He has published 105 research papers, 49 book chapters, 28 popular articles, 3 manuals, and has authored 29 books from publishing houses of global repute, including Springer, Elsevier, and CRC Press. We are glad to him on board for our today's schedule, and without taking much time, I invite Dr. Rakshit to please deliver a lecture. Dr. Rakshit, please. Hello. Hello. You are not audible, doctor. You have muted yourself. Kindly unmute yourself.
Okay. So my voice is audible right now?
Right now. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Dr. Rai, for this lovely introduction. I am immensely grateful to Dr. Goel, who actually introduced to this particular, 21 days session, and also the bigger group of NADCL from Jammu and Kashmir. So what I am going to talk today is something very important, particularly, when we talk about our goal, when we talk about our achievements, what we have achieved, and how we can plan the next, level of goals. So definitely, in achieving those sustainable development goal, how a very important part of your soil health can make a great contribution, and whether it is the political will or the social involvement, that I'm going to talk about today. So everybody in this particular world are busy with making their world as per their desirity. Nobody bothers that what is going to be the impact and what is going to the effect of any sort of intervention. Because when we are specifically mentioning about this agricultural innovation, intervention, or any sort of management level of provoke into the system, definitely nobody thinks of the consequences, and everybody is creating their own world as per their desirity, as per their wish, as per their particular goal. Maybe a very short-term goal, may not be a very sustainable goal, but everybody is doing in that particular direction. But on the other hand, in the present context, already our Prime Minister sets the agenda for the whole universe, for whole the other parts of the nation, whether it is the other parts of the globe as well, that we have to believe on this, the concept of oneness, whether it is one earth, one family, and one future. And when defining this particular earth, family, and future, we need to be very careful about that. Well, we have to heal this earth, definitely, and we have to make a harmony in this family, and we need to generate hope for the future, because that is something which is lacking for the last many more years. We are lacking hope generators. We will be creating hopes, we will be just mentoring hopes, for the young generations, or maybe the the active community who actually sets in all sorts of action. So as I say, India already sets the agenda. And once your Millennium Development Goal, once after those particular, when we started that intervention, the international community, they proposed a new framework, because, it was a quite success. And once that success came, definitely a bigger agenda came. And the main objective of that bigger agenda is definitely we wanted to reduce our poverty. We wanted to protect our planet. And at the same time, we wanted to make sure that you have enough of peace and security across the, global boundaries. And there are, 17 objectives. All of us know that. We have 169 targets, and as well as we have 263 indicators that will indicate that what much of progress we have made in the, corresponding year or in the last year. And this has been formulated, and in time to time, we analyze that. And this has been extended from 2015 to 2030. But there are
just a little interruption, doctor. Your presentation is not being visible to us.
It's not visible?
Yes. Can you please again start sharing it?
Yes, I'm doing it again.
Okay.
But initially, you people were able to see that, right?
Yes. It was perfectly working.
Okay. I'm just doing it again. I do not know why it's happening. Now it's visible?
No, not right now.
Because I have done...
Rakshit sir, please share your screen. Press start sharing button.
Yeah.
Yes, now it is visible.
It's okay. It's going to be shared.
It's visible, right?
Right, sir.
It's visible, right?
Screen is not visible.
But you have start sharing. Yes,
Yeah. Now screen is
now
visible.
it is
Very much visible. You can proceed,
Okay,
please.
thank you. Okay. So what I was mentioning that, we need to have those particular characteristics or those particular components when we are going to analyze it, when we are going to prioritize it. So in doing that, in all cases, we have to rely on this 5 particular P. Means when I said 5P, it's related to your people, it's related to your prosperity, it's related to your peace, it's related to your partnership. And definitely when we talk about people, prosperity, peace, and partnership, it is for the whole planet. That comes again with P again, right? So these 5 Ps are very, very important. And when I said that, well, we achieved that particular Millennium Development Goal, and SDGs are the blueprint, because we try to contemplate whatever our target is and how we wanted to achieve it, to achieve a better and more sustainable future for all. They address the global challenges, such as those related to poverty, inequity, climate, environmental degradation, prosperity, and peace and justice. Everything is it's a very much inclusive in nature. So now the question which I wanted to pose before all of you, that yes, definitely, whatever interventions we wanted to make in this particular planet, definitely the way we wanted to see tomorrow, that starts with how we do business today. That means the way the world we want tomorrow, it will start with our activity, which we actually doing it presently, or how we do it presently, or how we do business. In more professional terms, I can put it as a business. I said this particular statement because I wanted to now I wanted to bring the importance of soil in this particular context. And there are 3 very important reasons why I am putting this particular soil in the context, in the present context, when we wanted to characterize, when we wanted to prioritize, when we wanted to make our agenda very crystal clear that yes, the three reasons when I say the first and foremost reason is this is number one, and we need to understand this, that there are more living organisms in a tablespoon of soil than there are people in the earth. So definitely it is going to be more than 9.3 billion. And we never make any sort of intervention once we make any sort of disturbance in this particular soil where a huge population is working day and night. They are working day and night for many more reasons. I will explain that later on. The second most important part is it takes 1,000 years to make a 1 centimeter of soil. That means, if you make any sort of intervention, if you make any sort of negative impact, or if you make any sort of impairment or deterioration, it will take another 1,000 years to make that particular, replenishment. So it's a huge task. And the third very important reason is it is estimated that 95% of our food, which is directly or indirectly produced in our soil. Even this year, the United Nations, they put it this particular context that, well, the soil and water, they are very precious for our life. Even this year's, the agenda for the International Soil Day, which is going to be celebrated on 5th of December in 2023, there also, this particular importance, is becoming very, very, or it is getting more priority. That means whether it is, they have included water this year also, but soils are definitely the place where your food actually begins, right? So while if you look at those sustainable development goals, you will find that, well, none of them is directly refers to soil, but many of them, such as whether it's food security, water scarcity, climate change, biodiversity loss, health threats, they are closely linked to or dependent on those soil biodiversity. I was talking about that 9.3 billion in a 1 teaspoonful of soil. They are the major driver, whether it is those nutrient cycling processes, whether it is making your climate more resilient, more accommodative towards any sort of those variations, those changes. At the same time, it is creating that sort of situation where you are getting your water, your pure water. That is, this is all possible because of their importance, their effect, their impact. So what is most important is we need to believe this particular statement that yes, soil is alive, although very few of us, and we do believe, or we do have that sort of understanding that it is going to be the driver for most of the activities that you are going to make in this particular context. As I was mentioning about those different contexts of those sustainable development goals, whether it is no poverty, gender equality, affordable clean energy, sustainable economic growth, reduced inequality, responsible production of consumption, peaceful inclusive societies, as well as these may be your indirectly having some relationship. But if you look at the direct one, definitely it is going to be with relation to your ending your hunger, good health, well-being, sustainable management of your water, climate action, life on land. And as we all understand in the present context, when the carbon is being taken or carbon is being credited, whether it is it is being measured so efficiently so as to give that sort of dividends to all stakeholders who are responsible for creating that sort of resilience action in the soil, or that sort of absorbed action in the soil, so that we can make that sort of soil which is more of carbon. That means the carbon stock is going to be more, and if it is more, definitely which is directly or indirectly related with all sorts of climate abnormalities, means moderation of all sort of climate abnormalities. And at the same time, life on land, as I said, and partnership is very important. Now, there is another very important part is that, when we wanted to tell a soil as a soil, definitely if you go by UN agencies, they put it very strictly that yes, if it is below 1%, you cannot call it as a soil, right? Or you have to have percentage of your organic carbon content in your soil, then only you can term or designate them in the category of soil. So if you take that particular designation, or if you take that particular endorsement from those UN agencies, it's, as I say, you can see over here that the highest in Northern Europe, which is 1.48, the USA has even 1.25, and look at India, it is 0.68%. I think many of you might be, listening Sadhguru, Sadhguru, the leader, the mentor, who is creating a huge agenda for the whole country for making safe soil program. And many a time he used to make the statement like that well, maybe after 20 or 30 years, the whole of this particular agri ecosystem or the available soil is going to be, desert, is going to transfer to a desert, right? So that means he is basically based on this particular statistics. And because, as I said, that if you have less than 1%, it is considered to be a desertification. So if we are not taking these things very seriously, definitely things are not going to be in our own perspective. So now, turning all lands into chemical free agriculture, right now our food production could come down to 25% of what it is right now, which will be a take. So definitely those incentives to the farmers in order to facilitate the transition to organic farming from chemical farming, there are many initiatives. As I was mentioning, those particular political will need to be there to make that things happen. Because if we look at, because as I said, as I am repeatedly saying, that this organic carbon is the main driving force for making all these things to happen. So, and definitely, if we are able to give that sort of incentives, whether it is in the form of carbon credit, whether it is in the form of those transition, whoever is making that sort of transition of from inorganic, from completely conventional to a organic farming, or maybe partially dependent organic farming, definitely will make some positive progress. Immediate and absolute transition from chemical to organic farming is not feasible. And it's not also desirable, because if we just go back to those SDGs, because if we go back to those SDGs, this SDG 2 and SDG 13, right? These are the opposite part of a coin. Because if we wanted to get rid of this hunger, definitely we need to put more of your inorganics. But if you wanted to put more of your inorganics, definitely your climate action is going to be, you cannot take that sort of sustainable climate action in place. So definitely we have to make a sort of win-win situation, or a sort of compromising formula, so that the things can run without any difficulty. A gradual transition from chemical to organic, definitely, as I was mentioning, it's not possible to convert all of them in a single day or in a single year. To conversion is not possible. What we can do is, definitely we can enrich. As the soil becomes rich, the use of pesticide, chemicals and fertilizer will start sliding down. I'm mentioning these for another reason also, because if you look at the subsidy statistics of the government of India, the amount of burden this particular country is has to put in, so that is a huge one, more than 1,50,000 crores, almost 1,50,000 crores as a fertilizer subsidy. So if we can make some sort of substitution with maybe some of your organic intervention, or maybe we can supplement something with maybe some of your bioinoculants, definitely that burden of your subsidy we can always slash down. So this is another objective. As all of you know, that yes, the soil health constitutes the foundation of the production of a healthy food and contributes to your local and the global food security. But there will be need to 60% increase in the global food production if we look at those targets by 2050. But 1/3 of the global soils are currently facing that moderate to severe degradation. A huge amount of soil is getting degraded. It's not only degraded, you have a huge nutrient depletion. There are multi nutrient deficiencies are coming up. And there are, until 2020, there were only issues related to chemical, problem, whether it is related to salinity, whether it is related to, acidity, whether it is related to some, as I was mentioning, those multi-nutrient deficiency. But in the present context, there are problems related to physical deteriorations are also coming up. That means you have evidence-based decisions, and soil informations are crucial for achieving this sustainable, soil management at all levels. So what we understand that if we look at those different, context or different, perspectives of your the sustainable development goals, starting from those, starting from the sustainable development goal 1, sustainable development goal 2. So in an other way, if we able to maintain those your soil health properly, if we can make our soil more resilient with more of soil organic carbon, or those carbon, the status can be enhanced, or definitely will be able to achieve all these sustainable development goals. And if you can look at these, that it is something, it's related to all those interventions in your soil. It's whether it is the 3, 6, 13, that is 3 is definitely those particular sustainable goal related to your climate related, 13, 15 is climate related. You have your foundation of your human infrastructure. Definitely, you need to have that particular soil. Definitely in a civil engineering perspective, that is more important. They are more, very, giving more priority to those soil strength and all of them. It is, if you talk about provisioning of food, fiber, all those 7F, what we understand, whether it is food, whether it is feed, whether it is fiber, whether it is fertilizer, whatever it is. So you need, if you wanted to, provide them, so definitely you have to look for this. And then your biodiversity, those particularly hotspot, your carbon sequestration, your nutrient cycling, your water purification, your source of pharmaceuticals. Most of your antibiotics, almost more than 90% of your antibiotics comes from this particular soil. So definitely this has the huge implications on if you have a healthy soil, definitely, and this becomes a prerequisite for achieving all of your, as I said, this is a prerequisite to achieve your all sustainable development, as I was mentioning, whether it is related to flood regulation, whether it is related to climate, whether it is related to nutrient cycling, habitat for organisms. If you take any of them, so everything is related to, if you are able to maintain a healthy soil, if you are able to maintain a soil which is resilient, which can come to its original position once, even if you make some sort of interruption in the soil, so definitely you are going to make that sort of changes. So in order to if you wanted to align those sustainable development with your healthy soil, we need some interventions from our end as well, because as I was mentioning, the politically it has to be, we need to have that will, as well as socially we need to involve ourselves. So when it is politically, then definitely we need to we need more investment. We need money for your nature, environment, and climate. For achieving all the sustainable development goal, a clear minimum environmental baseline need to be defined for all, and the farmers as well, right? Money for your more sustainable farmer to carry out those biodiversity friendly management ensures that taxpayers also receive a benefit. Those particularly, I'm talking about those public goods. And in this context, definitely the government of India is coming up. It's taking its proactive role, whether it is, coming up with those sort of regenerative agriculture, because, regeneration is coming up these days, with a very prominent focus. I can give you one example, then you will be able to understand. So suppose, when we talk about any sort of invention, any sort of intervention in soil, or you think of a soil where you didn't make any sort of intervention, I'm talking about those, physical intervention, whether it is, maybe a tillage, because this is very common if you wanted to grow your crop. So if you wanted to do that, and if you are doing it, definitely you are making a huge, impairment for those biological community. For them, it is, equivalent to one tsunami, maybe one that is going to be very prominent in case of your forest fire, wild forest fire, and that can be equivalent to one earthquake. So if you are making any intervention into your soil, that means you are making any disturbance in your soil, whether it is a physical manipulation, that means for those biological community, this is equivalent to one tsunami, one wildfire, and one earthquake. So we can understand, and we do perceive that, for if these things can happen with us singly, what is the extent, or what is the momentary activities, or what is the momentary effect, that the consequence is so large. So for them, it is like that only. And that's the reason the government is very proactive for making this particular part, that yes, we need to make that sort of agenda very crystal clear related to your regenerative agriculture. That means that means there must have something degeneration. Otherwise, we cannot think of a regeneration. That means something we did mistake. So definitely if we wanted to clarify, or if we wanted to just, get rid of all those mistakes, we have to make that sort of intervention. Next, an aim to reverse those subsidies. As I was mentioning, it's a huge subsidy, right? It's a huge subsidy, 1,50,000 crores. It's a huge subsidy. And as you will be, astonished to learn that, it is, whenever you talk about 1 kg use of nitrogen, or if I give this example more, profusely, or giving more, simplifying this particular part, then I think it will be more easier for you. I'm talking about using 1 kg of nitrogen in your soil. So at the same time, I'm also mentioning it that for this production of 1 kg nitrogen in the industry, followed by from the industry, it has to be transported to that particular place where it has to be, applied. And then definitely it has to be, those material has to be unloaded. You are going to put it in a, maybe in a godown. From that particular godown, people will come, people will take those particular fertilizer to their farm, and ultimately you are just going to apply. I am taking all these operations, starting from synthesis, starting from your transportation, starting from this loading, unloading, and then ultimately physically applying that particular input. So for 1 kg of nitrogen, it's a huge amount of energy is being incurred. It's almost 16.7 megajoule of energy is incurred. And when I'm talking about this megajoule of energy, definitely it has some meaning. And this is equivalent, you just think of a village where you have, around 100 inhabitants in that particular village, right? And they are being provided that, yes, in every, evening, they will be given 1 hour electricity, and they will be provided a 40-watt bulb. So the amount of, the expenditure of electricity in a month for those 100 inhabitants is equivalent to the energy which is needed to produce 1 kg nitrogen. So I think you can understand that how energy intensive is this input industry is. So in the present context, if we look at the amount of fertilizer we are using, it's it's almost touching to your 40 million tons. It's a huge amount. So I am talking about 1 kg nitrogen. So if you just convert it in million tons, definitely you will be able to understand that what is the extent of energy involvement, right? And the third important factor is we need to be very clear about it, that we need to enforce a huge, vibrant law, improved governance and performance framework. This is very important because we need to make this particular part very clear. And here comes also your political will, that whether we are doing it or whether we are able to make that sort of vibrancy in our administration. Because there are many things. Because when I said that you have a huge, input requirement for producing this much amount of your self-sufficiency in the country, but at the same time, we need to remember that there are spurious materials are also available in the market, right? So those spurious materials, so if you don't have a vibrance, administration or monitoring, definitely there is a chance that, well, the farmers are going to use those, spurious material, those adulterated materials. And ultimately, those illegal activities are going to make ourselves less competitive, right? Often more, it's not very often a nature friendly, because there are many things are going to happen which is going to impair many of your biological activities in your soil, right? So that means you need to have an enforcement of law, improved governance, and performance framework is needed. So that's what I was talking from, last few slides, that, well, soil health is basically, our Prime Minister already talks about that oneness, one earth, one family, one future. So definitely soil health is a combination of your human health and your ecosystem health. If your soil health is there proper, definitely you can talk about your human health, or you can talk about your ecosystem health. I do hope that all of you can understand, in the last few decades, we have a huge, there are more cases of your cases like your neuron related diseases, right? You have more heart disorder related diseases are coming up in the country. There are more your abnormal babies are growing in the country. There are more if we talk about that particular fertility issues, particularly in females. So there are issues related to whether I was talking about those nervous system, whether issues related to your reproductive system, as well as you have issues related to your gastrointestinal disorder, right? This is coming up. If you look at in the last 1 decade, in the last 10 years, the cases are coming up very high, right? It was not there maybe 20 years back, but in the last decades, things were very high. And it happened, and it was a connection with your soil health, because it happened because of, I was talking about those multi-nutrient deficiencies. Zinc is related to all these, whether it is your gastrointestinal disorder, whether it is your related to your heart disease ailment, it is all related. And at the same time, when I am talking about those reproductive health of your female, that is also related to your boron. So this zinc and boron deficiency is coming up across the different agroecologies in the country. If you take your Jammu Kashmir, or if you take Tamil Nadu, or if you take the northeastern part or Gujarat, in everywhere you have issues related to zinc, you have issues related to boron. So that means that's the reason I mentioned that it's, if you are able to maintain your soil health, definitely you are able to maintain your human health, your ecosystem health. Everything is going to be, you will be able to maintain that, because that is very important. That is very that is very important to cover up, right? And then sorry, and then the next part is I mentioned this particular part number of times, that yes, this is the soil which is delivering these all ecosystem services that actually enable life on the earth. I mentioned many a times. I mentioned all those different categories of activities and how they are connected to all these SDGs. So definitely one statement is enough to mention here, that yes, soil is delivering these all ecosystem services, which is making your enable, or which is making that enable life on the earth. Now, definitely, when I am giving stressing on all these, definitely we need to make it a point that whether we are serious about it, or whether we are taking this particular segment very seriously, how serious we are. Definitely, whether if you look at the government of India or the state governments or at the, international level, that International Soil Union. So they are doing, day and night. So there are a decade of speaking of your soil health, and that has ended in the last year, 2022. 2012, FAO members recognized soil as the basis of food or healthy planet, right? In 2012, you have your global soil partnerships is there. India is also a party in that. Soil is debated in intergovernmental, framework. There are 10 plenary assemblies involved. Intergovernmental technical panels on soil, 16 working sessions already been undertaken involving 27 experts. There are 3 experts from India as well, right? There are 7 regional soil partnerships held in 69. How best we can do it, right? And then rising awareness. If you wanted to, make a sensitization, definitely you have to make some events. As I was mentioning, the World Soil Day, which is going to be on 5th of December 2023. And this time, the agenda is both soil and water, both. We wanted to connect these 2 very important natural resource base because these are the foundation of everything, right? So I was mentioning about the events which people have made across the different agroecologies. In social media reach, it's almost more than 1.23 billion. Media outreach, 3.97 billion. There are multiple soil prizes, soil champions. This have been announced. People have been awarded also in the last year also from India. There is one gentleman who got this particular King Bhumibol World Soil Day Award. Glinka medal also owned by your Indian counterpart. And at the same time, you have products and services. You have, if you can see those FAO soil portal, it is very active, very, you will be able to always, talk to or can interact with them. Soil EX is coming up, first database on legal instruments, right? Global Soil Doctors Program. We do it in BHU very much, right? For the last many more years, we try to, inculcate the practice, this particular, the teaching or of this particular, the art of making those soil analysis, not for your agricultural graduates, but those agricultural entrepreneurs, maybe the progressive farmers. We have made them competent to do their own soil analysis. So this is Global Soil Doctors Program. Then a mechanism to scale up your soil health management with respect to organic carbon. There are 38 countries are there. So what I'm trying to mention over here is people are after it. There are multiple efforts have been made, whether it is for your capacity building, whether it is just for making your connecting those soil data with those different countries, because as I said, those global soil partnership that enable to share all those information and share those achievements, what we have achieved, because ultimately what we wanted to give a priority is we wanted to improve and maintain our health of at least 50% of your world's soil. Because as I said, it is not something in a very, it's not very, in something very sound manner, right? It's not that very, we may not be that much very happy the way it is happening right now. So I'm not going to, I already mentioned about all of them. And I already talked about all these very important issues related to climate regulation, provisioning of food fiber, fuel, biodiversity, nutrient cycling. For everything, it is very important. Now, there is one very important thing. We have to remember this particular point, very minutely, because, there are multiple agencies that there in the market now. Always they make a propaganda, right? That yes, within 5 minutes, your soil, you will be able to ascertain about your soil health. You will be able to work out, measure your soil health, but you have to be very, very careful about it. Because until and unless you are able to measure it, you cannot manage it properly. So it's not a game. You have to do it very seriously with much more commitment, with much more integrity. So that means you need that sort of instrument Well, there are multiple instruments are coming up. Those handheld scanners are available. But we don't have that much amount of data in the cloud to predict about them very precisely. Because those particular data which is being generated, it is based on mostly on your laboratory data, right? So that is being an issue. So that means what I am trying to tell is we need to bring those soil laboratories into the forefront. It's not that because you will find that there are multiple agencies are coming up, they don't have any basis, they don't follow any agenda, they don't follow any particular protocol, whether it is of USDA, whether it is of ICAR, whether it is of any state agriculture university. They do it as per their own desirity. So no, it should not be like this, right? There are 6 actions that can be taken to prevent and this reverse nutrient imbalance, as I was mentioning, time and time, that well, we need to be very, very careful about that. Yes, if we wanted to make our soil health very vibrant, definitely we need to do it. We need to use judicious use of fertilizer. I'm not, in favor of 100% those organic conversion. Definitely you have to make some sort of supplementation, whether with your organics or supplementation with your bioinoculant. You need to soil, measurement. This particular part is also very important, soil nutrient measurement mapping. You have to have those crop diversification and pulses, because that is going to be, directly or indirectly helping your soil health to prosper. You have to use your adequate use of micronutrient, because as I said, this is becoming very critical in the present context, in the present complexities which is being generated, as I mentioned, of different cases. You have to adopt long-term sustainable soil management. It's not something for short gains. We have to talk about those long planning, long-term goals, and enhance technical support to farmers. As I was mentioning number of times, that those technicalities have to be very, very sound. We know more about the movement of those celestial bodies than about the soil underfoot. This is the unfortunate part, that the 24/7, these particular 9.3 billions, the way they are making it, definitely is going to be very, very important. I'm also going to highlight here, there are multiple soil threats are also there. This is one of our exercises which we undertake in 2006 onwards in BHU. We found in this eastern part of India that there are issues. There are these 10 soil threats will be there. I think this is almost common in the rest part of India as well, in another way. Maybe one is very dominant, or maybe 2 or 3 will be can be taken into account, right? Whether it is related to organic carbon change, whether it is related to compaction problem, acidification, contamination, loss of biodiversity, everything. So as a matter of fact, this 33% of our global soils are already degraded, and it is nothing, it is happening, as I said, it is also happening at the local level also, as I was mentioning, of the eastern part of Uttar Pradesh. It is also happening in the national level also, and at also the globally also, that you have a huge percentage are being under threat. So, but at the same time, I also mentioned that not everybody have that sort of understanding and appreciation of, everybody see it just like a dirt. So an independent, influential, and effective voice of soil health is a mandatory, and this is the platform where this can be sensitized, and I think this can be sensitized further. As I was mentioning those definitive roles, I already mentioned about those regenerative agriculture, where the restoration is very important, where we talk about minimum disturbance, and as a matter of fact, once you are able to disturb minimally, and you are able to cover it properly, your soil, and you are able to integrate your livestock, definitely will be in a win-win situation. If you remember that our Prime Minister mentioned this on 15th of August 2022, that when we attained freedom, there were many skeptics who doubted our development trajectory. But they didn't know that there is something different about the people of this land. They didn't know that this soil is special. But unfortunately, this soil was able to, make the sufficient requirement, whether it is related to your food grain, whether it is related to the other, aspects, very, handsomely. But now it's time that we need to make that sort of things very our agenda, we need to give them more priority. If we look at the agenda wise, that how the governments, how the other non-government bodies, how they're looking at those particular soil, right? How soil was an agenda in their particular any developmental program. If you just see this particular graph, you will be able to see that the momentum started from 2010 or maybe 2011 in India. That means, there were programs, there were plans, but, there were not that sort of sensitization. There were not that sort of, catalysis sort of activity was going on. That means now soils were neglected, not on agenda before that, but now soils are in high, and the challenge is to catalyze these actions and to keep this particular momentum. And to keep your soil live, definitely we need to, I already mentioned about those particular issues. I also talked about those assessment of soil health. We need to be, make them understand that, well, if you wanted to make that sort of understanding, or if you wanted to make that sort of, assessing, you need some, specific indicators, and you need to train them. And for that, you need collaboration. It's not that a single university or single SAU, single KVK, single, state department will be able to do it. You need collaborations. And for that, you need different stakeholders. And what the BHU model is, we are doing it, for the last almost, I think, 8-9 years. That, as I mentioned, that soil is the country's, as it becomes a country's legacy, academia, industry should interact in a planned framework in which all stakeholders should be represented and involved. It's not that, if we are, initiating, we will be leading the thing. Everybody should be represented, everybody should be involved. And if we can consolidate this momentum into action by everybody who is there, as I mentioned, for BHU, we have National Fertilizer Limited, we have Government of Uttar Pradesh, IFCO, we have your farmer, those, the progressive farmer, we have Coromandel Fertilizer, we have Bayer. So these are the whole set of groups for a single set of action. So definitely we need to work together. We need to work together to scale up this particular, to improve our soil health, and to scale implementation on the ground globally to help transform food and agricultural system. But at the same time, from the very initial of those, political will. Unfortunately, we have a government. That means you need a government which is very prepared and which is very proactive. Unfortunately, now we have a government which is very prepared and which is very proactive on this particular issue of soil health. Because, there are multiple things are involved. You have your stakeholders, you have your advocacy program, you have your science, because scientists will be predicting, scientists will be advocating something that you have to, converge into practice. You have your information and monitoring system. You have your policies, because policy people will be there. They will also like to see that, well, whatever, scientific intervention you are going to make, whether it is going to give up some sort of, fruitful result in terms of economy, in terms of environment, right? And there are legislations also. So Government of India is making that sort of interaction, whether it is with FAO, whether it is ISUS. So they are doing a very, proactive role. And the relevance of soil to the United Nations Sustainable Development Goal, I am not going to, read it out. But at the same time, I am also going to mention over here that, even when we talk about the societal, because, as a scientist, we have some societal implications as well. Means you can publish your result, you can, and definitely once you will be able to publish your result, once you have your work. So if you look at this particular year, you see here from 2010 onwards, there is a huge, research or huge publication, either with your soil and sustainability or with your soil health. And these publications are all published in your Web of Science. These are not any predatory journal result I am mentioning here. That means there is enough of sensitization is already been there, right? We need a framework, as I was mentioning. Definitely, you have to involve people from multiple areas. It's an interdisciplinary research sort of thing. Everybody should be there. Whether it is agriculture, whether it is science, whether it is basic science, whether it is environmental science, whether it is engineering, and then social science will be there. So these are The Soil Health Roadmap outlines the 10 key steps spanning the science, economy, and policy priorities. Definitely, we have to create those facilities, develop, and then we have to advance those particular science, right? And we have to align, because alignment is very important. And once we are able to align, definitely we'll be able to leverage the benefit, and then provide a broader access, right? And then we have to create those market signals and sustainability program for soil health. We have to also appreciate, because if some farmer is making some sort of positive interventions, definitely we have to give appreciation, we have to give reward, and at the same time, we need support policies. We need, very positive policies in place so that we can build a more diverse, more consistent soil health in place, right? So these are the 10-point agenda that we have given to the state of Uttar Pradesh, the government of Uttar Pradesh, for a carbon positive state with a healthy soil. Because I was mentioning about this particular carbon, and I was trying to correlate with soil health, right? So definitely any sort of intervention which is going to enrich, which is going to, increase the stock of your carbon, that is definitely going to implicate on your soil health. These are, I'm not going to read it out, but what is important I am trying to tell over here is you need to have knowledge. That means its knowledge is not enough, but you have to make your people aware what you know, and then you need to make those motivation. And it's not only motivation works, you have to have your own form implementation in place as well. But at the same time, you have to support. So for supporting, you need finance, right? And if you want to make it a support with finance, definitely you have to have a policy in place. Now, these are the statistics that will tell you that now, if you look at the India's rank, right? Himachal Pradesh is doing excellent. Kerala, you look at this, the rating. The rating, if you look at this India's rank particularly, and more than, as I mentioned, that yes, this much amount of soil health card is already being distributed. But even just making this statement is not fair enough, because just by distributing soil health card doesn't make your service. But what you need to tell them that yes, how to use those soil health card. So government already spent huge money for the soil health card scheme, as I was mentioning. There are soil testing labs across the country. There are, this much amount of luck released for your soil health management, becoming a home to one of the world's largest alternative agriculture movements. Government is giving more priority to this regenerative agriculture, right? Natural farming. This puts farmer expertise in the center of soil fertility. Then soil health card recommendation had led directly to 8 to 10% decline. This is something, very, very, something very rewarding result we are getting. A dedicated portal is already there, right? A dedicated portal is already there. This is the rank I'm talking about with reference to your sustainable development. India's rank is not that very good. If you look at this, but if you look at within, because in this sustainable development goal, your soil health is, intricately related. There are multiple startups out there in the country. There are multiple, young minds are taking action, or they're just converging their action into practice. They're converging their, thinking or their innovations into practice. So I can tell you that more than 700 agri-tech startups are already there. And you have your handheld sensors. I was talking about those, soil fertility analysis. There are people, they work on it. Rapid cycling of your organic waste. These are the issues ultimately, directly or indirectly, is going to help or improve your soil health management. And this is something which I can proudly say that there are, the best minds are taking initiatives. The best minds are taking actions into this particular thing. So although this is traditionally this natural resource management was looked as the government responsibility, but now there are players recognizing the gaps in the system and finding ways to improve this segment. There's movement talent growing in the agri zone, as I was mentioning. IIT people are also there. From theory to action, I'm not only preaching, I'm also practicing. These are some of our activities, what we have done in the last many more years. We have, we have some satellite center for soil testing, because BHU cannot provide the services to everybody. So we have provided some one service center in your Mirzapur, another service center in Balia, because our target area is basically the eastern part of Uttar Pradesh, and where you can see that mostly our students are the main stakeholders. They are taking this technology too far ahead. We also try to see that what sort of sensitization is going on among kids, and believe me, these are the people having age less than 10 years. And this was the poster drawing competition that held in 2022 in BHU. And this is the people, this is those kids, they came up with their understanding that what they understand. And these are few my publication related to this particular issue of soil, because as I'm involved in this business for the last many more years, almost 21 years of my professional service, apart from my PhD, BSc, MSc. So definitely these will also help. And there are a few Hindi publications are also there. So if I'm just going to now conclude that being critical to achieving the sustainable development goals, strengthening understanding the properties and processes of soil at the national and regional scale is very, very important. The necessity to realize the sustainable development by 2030 also inspires a greater sense of responsibility from all of us. Healthy soils are vital to addressing a wide-ranging global challenges, from food insecurity to climate change. But we don't have enough data. But so definitely we need more exercise, right? Soil biodiversity is at the center of achieving many of your SDGs, but this contribution remains largely underestimated. So now people are taking more care on it. However, soil's knowledge cannot be applied modern challenges with the scarcity of well-trained specialists. I was talking about those global doctors, soil doctors. So definitely we are also working on that. A major concern is the lack of holistic disciplinary foundation support for many who are working on soil scientists. So we need to involve all those guys in a single platform. There has been a noticeable welcome of search for soil research. I already mentioned about whether it's related to publication, whether it is related to the government or political agenda. Then several SDGs are directly impacted by soil properties and processes and their sustainable management. Important among them I mentioned. Additionally, several SDGs are indirectly related. But many of these SDGs are not on the track of accomplishment by 2030. So definitely our effort has to be to make a more concerted effort so as to create a healthy soil. And if we are able to create a healthy soil, definitely you are ensuring healthy food. And if you are able to ensure a healthy food, definitely you can ascertain a healthy people for this healthy planet, right? So thank you very much. I must acknowledge my collaborators, whether it is Better Life Farming, whether it is UP Council of Science and Technology, whether it is Coromandel, whether it is Department of Science and Technology, and at the last, my university, Banaras University, who is mentoring me in making these things to happen. And at the same time, I also put my extended team who actually work for me. Whatever I mentioned, this is based on their particular experiences, their result, their thesis, their dissertation. So thank you very much, Dr. Rai and the whole team of NADCL, who actually given me this opportunity for this dialogue to happen. Thank you very much. So thank you for your attention, and I expect and being instrumental in giving a voice to soil. Whoever is the participant in this particular 21 days program, I'm expecting from all of them. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. And illustrative lecture full of information that we all needed to have about soil.